Tell us, what are the challenges facing the Nigerian legal profession today?
The law enforcement agency, specifically the Nigerian police force, the pattern in which the place operates is more of a business center. I'll tell anybody for free that the most lucrative place to open a POS business is in front of the Nigerian police station. The decay in that structural organization is a serious problem. They are seriously underfunded. Have you visited the barracks? Oh God, that place is like a hell. You can't expect anybody that sleeps and comes out of that place to actually give you anything good. Go to places like EFCC, ICPC. You go there, you see young, law officers, with their nice cars, nice ride. We have instances where police officers actually use their own personal money to paint their office. The former Attorney General, during their tenure, they were, so much disregard for court orders, and today it's in the same net. The independence of the judiciary. The judiciary are not independent, in all honesty. A governor has to be the one to sign for the purchase of cars for judges, building of quarters for judges. It takes away that complete independence away from them.
Good day and welcome to the Polls with Lantern News, where we bring you Nigeria's hottest trends, pressing issues and breaking stories. Today we turn our focus on the legal profession, the current state of affairs of the nation and what the future holds for young leaders. As Nigeria grapples with economic strain, governance challenges and growing public distrust in institutions, the role of lawyers and the justice system has never been more critical. Are today's legal practitioners equipped to defend democracy, uphold the rule of law, and inspire a new generation of principled leadership? And what hope exists for young Nigerians seeking change through the law? Joining us to unpack this crucial conversation is our legal analyst, Amir Habib Al-Bushra. Welcome, Mr. Al-Bushra. Please, can you kindly introduce yourself for our audience, please?
My name is Amir Habib Al-Bushra. I am a legal practitioner here in Nigeria. I'm a bona fide member of the Nigerian Bar Association and also a bona fide member of the Nigerian Law Society as well.
Okay, Nigerian Law Society?
Oh yes, there is also Nigerian Law Society. Okay. It's also like a body, just like the Nigerian Bar Association as well. It was bettered through the wisdom of the likes of Chief Bolaji Ayorinde, SAN, Melanonge SAN, and of course my father, J.K. Gazama SAN, who in their wisdom thought that it is very necessary and very important that we have an alternative bar association in order to curb the monopolistic image representation of the Nigerian Bar Association.
What do you mean monopolistic representation?
In the past, before the creation of the Nigerian Law Society, the Nigerian Bar Association poses itself as the singular body that actually defines the opinion of lawyers. This is not a common practice globally. So when legal matters arises, the Nigerian Bar Association gives its own opinion, then it is assumed that that is the opinion of all the lawyers in Nigeria. But thanks to the creation of the Nigerian Law Society, that monopolistic image representation has been taken away.
Tell us, what are the challenges facing the Nigerian legal profession today?
The Nigerian legal profession has numerous challenges, and to mention but a few. The number one is the law enforcement agency, specifically the Nigerian police force. I don't know who actually designed that structure, but in my own opinion, the pattern in which the place operates is more of a business center. I'll tell anybody for free that the most lucrative place to open a POS business is in front of the Nigerian police station. I remember one time I had a matter in the Nigerian police force at Ekpanti. So I was discussing with someone that operates a POS in front of the place, and she made me realize that in a day, She does transaction nothing less than 5 million naira every day, because of course they will not take transfer, so that there will not be electronic tray. So most of the time it is cash. The decay in that structural organization is a serious problem for the legal profession. That's why, on most occasions, I don't even take criminal matters, except where it is personal. I'm more of into civil and contract and commercial transactions, because of the decadence in the criminal system. Because comparing it with other law enforcement agents such as the EFCC and others, you understand that the Nigerian police system is way, way, way behind in their structural, activities. That is just one. Secondly, the analog system that is mostly being operated by a lot of courts in Nigeria. Although Lagos and Abuja have made tremendous efforts to actually go digital, but the analog, where you have to be exchanging papers, filing with papers, it's actually a serious setback for the growth of the legal profession. It's a challenge as well. Another one is the independence of the judiciary. The judiciary are not independent, in all honesty, because when a governor has to be the one to sign for the purchase of cars for judges, building of quarters for judges, it takes away that complete independence away from them. That is another serious challenge confronting legal profession. Then the abuse of rule of law and court orders. Oh my God. It's become an habit. And come to think of it, my dad, in his wisdom, used to say something. He said, if you are digging a pit for your enemy, don't dig it too deep, because you might just end up burying yourself. The former attorney general, during their tenure, they were, so much disregard for court orders, and today he's in the same net. That is another serious challenge confronting legal profession. And another one that a lot of people don't talk about is this disrespect for lawyers, even by senior lawyers employing younger lawyers to work. In my own opinion, I've worked in several law firms quite all right. And if you cannot afford to pay your lawyers, don't even bother employing. Just do the work yourself, or you arrange a kind of commission arrangement between them. Because lawyers are seriously underpaid by clients and even by their employers, who are the senior lawyers. These issues are not talked about in Nigerian Bar Association, because the people who are supposed to talk about it are guilty of the same character as well. So they talk about the remunerations of lawyers outside, but they don't talk about senior lawyers paying younger lawyers peanuts. That is another serious challenge confronting the legal profession. There are so many more numerous challenges, but these are just the few that I can run my head, or major ones I can run my head around
So
currently.
they say Nigerians we like to complain without solutions. You have mentioned some very key things that is facing the Nigerian law society today. What are the solutions to these things? How do lawyers who themselves are not earning well enough pay younger lawyers? And of course, you cannot invest so much in a child and then he goes to certain law firms and he's being paid 40,000 naira.
Even they are even the ones that are worse than 40,000 naira, I must confess to you. You see, in global standard, there should not be any lawyer that is employed, full employment in a law firm in Nigeria, that should earn nothing less than at least the barest minimum $500 for an associate. And if you convert that to naira, you know what it means. But even senior associates don't even earn up to $500. In global standard practice, lawyer earn between 2,000 to 5,000 as remuneration every month. That is like the standard, but we are actually looking at our economic and standard of living and everything to actually, bring it down to the barest minimum. This is just my own opinion.
So you are
That
talking,
is just
you are
one.
mentioning this in a society where we are still struggling to feed.
That is why I said that it is a two-way thing. It's either you actually make an arrangement with the lawyers you are employing, that in the event that I can't pay you this certain amount for every transaction that comes to the firm, you have a certain percentage, then there will be an opportunity and avenue for growth. Because imagine a lawyer, you have actually practiced for 5, 6 years and you can't even actually lay your hand on anything tangible. That is one. Then the solution again to the menace of the structure of the Nigerian police, like I mentioned, you see, to be fair to the Nigerian police, they are seriously underfunded. Have you visited the barracks? Oh God, that place is like a hell. You can't expect anybody that sleep and comes out of that place to actually give you anything good. That place is terrible. That is one. If you go to places like EFCC, ICPC, you go there, you see young, law officers, with their nice cars, nice ride, well, clean suits. But you go to police, oh my God, that place is unbearable. Do you know that it is as bad as we have instances where police officers actually use their own personal money to paint their office? That is because I have them as friends and colleague, of course. If one will ask me my own solution to that, you see that money they give to governors, that security vote, it is not useful in their hand. Commissioners of each state, commissioner of police, let them give them that money that are being given, because what the governors do with it, they probably buy houses for their girlfriends, go on vacation with it. That security vote, it is not useful in their hand. Let them give that security vote to commissioner of police in each state. Then we will have more accountability from that angle. That is another solution. Then on the issue of the analog system of the court, to be candid and to be fair, Lagos and Abuja are, making tremendous efforts to go digital. Although a lot of states are still lagging behind, but the way you need to actually take a date today and wait for another 2 months for mention, it is not actually helping the growth of the legal profession. Let everything to be digital so that the time frame that is used in actually attending to cases will be limited. Then as for the abuse of the court processes by people in authority, the simple solution to that is that let the Nigerian judiciary to be completely independent. The reason why the executive are holding on to this influence is because they want to have a say in the activities of the judiciary. Let them be completely free. That alone will go a long way for us to have a fair and sincere adjudications on matters. Those are the solutions that I'm preferring to all the criticisms and the problems I've outlined.
Oh, interesting. So, moving on to that, what are your thoughts on the current state of affairs in this nation right now?
Uh, anyway, the opinion I'm going to be giving those opinions as a citizen, or let me say, as a patriotic citizen of Nigeria, because I'm not a politician. Um, you see, there is no country that does not have its own challenges. Fine, Nigeria has several issues confronting, like security, inflation, etc., etc. But I believe the way this current administration are tackling all these things one after the other, it shows there is a growth. There is a Chinese saying that say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. We are actually moving in the right direction. That is just my own opinion. Like I said, look at one of those journalists that I respect so much, Dr. Ruben Abati, in my own opinion. I think he's the only person that actually gives opinion that is devoid of sentiment and bias. He was in the villa. He said, he asked the man question. Dr. Ruben has been in the corridors of power, so I believe that when somebody is saying jargons, he knows. When somebody is making sense, he knows because he has worked with people in presidency. He knows, he knows a very viable material when he says something. He had a conversation with him during an interview, and when he came back to the studio, he said, yes, I believe this man knows what he's doing. So that is all we need, that if this person knows what he's doing and is setting foundation, I believe that we would have growth steady. But it's not as if it is easy for anybody, though we are all feeling the impact of these challenges. But some of these, you know, corrections that they are doing, they should have been done long time ago. And that is why it is hectic that we have to face all of these things now. A friend of mine, I'll give you one funny gist. A friend of mine is a farmer. So I think we spoke, was it sometime last year? He was now telling me, he said that he's like, Ashiwaju has Alijanu farming for him. I just busted it to laugh. I said, why did you say that? He said they were busy hoarding food items, hoping that the price will go up. But all of a sudden, they just saw that the market was flooded with those things they were hoarding. So they were forced to actually sell the ones with them at a lesser price. So all those things are things that are encouraging. So it shows that yes, the state of affairs of the nation is challenging, but there is growth.
When you say there's growth, for some people they'll say it's relative because while some farmers currently are saying this is the worst government to happen to them, the pure populace, it seems there's food, but you don't have money to buy the food.
So we should be grateful to God, quite all right, and there is no administration that will come in and that will be perfect. There will always be challenge. The complaints and challenges have been existing.
What's your take on 2027 election? It's just next year. And the current permutations of these heavyweights we are seeing all over the place.
People will actually come for me for this one, but anyway, I'm entitled to my opinion,
You
isn't
are.
it? Just like every other Nigerian. Uh, I think this man stand a very strong chance to actually get re-elected because I look at when you mention heavyweight, the people that come to my mind are the likes of Peter Obi and of course His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. But I don't see any one of them actually defeating him because he was not even in government, yet he was able to actually use strategy to actually emerge as a winner. You see, leadership, depending on what you are going for, you must look like what you are aiming for. This is just my opinion. As I've been opportune to see Peter Obi on two occasions at airport. One was in Nnamdi Azikiwe, the other one was at Murtala Mohammed. I greeted him once, that was in Nnamdi Azikiwe. The reason why I'm giving you this story is because on those two occasions, I just see that he's speaking Igbos with his Igbo cycle. So when you see him, you don't see that national outlook around him. Compared to Ashiwaju, you see Ashiwaju, you see Igbo, you see Hausa, you see every tribe are surrounding. There is even this guy, this young guy from Bauchi that works with him. He created Ashiwaju Lungu Lungu. Every nooks and crannies of the north, they enter to campaign. That is the essence of the national outlook.
Atiku also has a national outlook.
To me, I think His Excellency is just rolling the dice because he's not even supposed to compete or come out this time around. Because look at it, they've already had perception that we Northerners we are intolerant to Southerners holding power. This is just his 4 years in administration, his third year in administration rather. So let the Southerner complete their tenure. Although it's not written in any constitution, it's just a gentleman agreement and a tradition that when the South use 8 years, the North spend 8 years.
You
So
still,
my opinion is just he
you still
shouldn't have
think
even contest. He should allow the South to complete their tenure.
you still think governance should be about zoning, and you still think with the current hardship that Nigerians are complaining of and the insecurity that is ravaging the country, you still think Asuaju stands a chance?
Although I've not met him in person, no, but I think my uncle in Lagos, a former chairman of a local government in Lagos, we went to Bodilon one time. I was standing from afar, he was talking. When that man talks from afar, if you have the opportunity to meet him, you will just fall in love. How many people are actually against him and now they are now his friends? See, it is only two set of people that are fighting Ashiwaju. Put it on record and quote me anyway. Number one is people who want something from him, or two, people who are working for him. Don't be surprised that the likes of His Excellency Malam Nasir El-Rufai and Senator Aminu Tambo, all of them in ADC now, they might even be working for Ashiwaju. That is how unpredictable he is. There is something in Lagos that they used to call Ashiwaju templates. I'm just telling you these things to actually, expose you to what I know about him. Because, of course, if you stay in Lagos, you are with politicians, people who are very close to him, you have access to some informations. There is something they call Ashwaju template, and what it is that you must be impactful. If anybody is going to enjoy favor or growth in Ashwaju cycle, you must be impactful to your people. Your people that you are superintending over, they must give accounts, a good account of your person. I will give you instance now. That my uncle I told you about, he's not in government anymore, but yet people still knock on his door, and yet it's still open. I was talking to him one time. I said, "Sir, you are not in government. Why are these people bothering you?" He said, "Ashwaju was not in government, and yet his doors are open to the public for
Well,
help." No, I'm coming. That is just one. Then another one. You see the kind of persons around him. Another example, his wife, Mrs. Remi Tinubu. I was opportune to see one of our program. I think they were disbursing buses for chiefs in her constituency when she was a senator. And at that point in time, they brought those buses. The woman saw those buses. She said, no, this is not the standard she wants to give to them. She had to cancel that program and let them return it. So, because she has a particular standard she wants to give. So, that is the kind of mentality of people around him. Look at another person around him, the chief of staff, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. The little I know, I might be wrong, but the little I know, that man has over 1,000 people that he caters for every month. So that is the kind of environment Ashiwaju stays in. So how do you not see that person winning with this kind of team and the kind of structures around him that you must be impactful?
I
Everybody, every notable politician in Nigeria today owes Ashiwaju a favor. I'm the one saying it.
I'm curious when you say these people have thousands of people on their payrolls and thousands of people they're helping. How did they amass such wealth? Because Asuwaju was in government before his current position a long time ago. Some of these people have not been in government. How did they have so? How much were they paid in government? How do they have so much money and so much capital to attend to these people still? Was it not taxpayers' money that was stolen?
You see, there is something about giving. It does not matter what you have and how much you have. Even with whatever little that you have, it is just the heart of giving. See, people have this perception that anybody that is, assisting people or something, they must have, gotten an ill wealth or something. It might not necessarily be that. I can't speak for him. I'm not a spokesperson. You understand? But I'm just giving a perception based on what I see from outside. The heart of giving or helping people or being impactful, you don't necessarily have to have all the world before you extend generosity. That is just my take on that.
Earlier in this conversation, you said you are not a politician.
I'm not a politician.
But from my findings, you are the perennial president of Lawson. And you say you are not a politician.
That one I can't regard it as politics. It's just student unionism. Fine, quite all right. We have always been advocating for so many things, but it's just union. But right now, me, I cannot say I'm a politician. I don't even see myself as a politician.
Can you just recount some of the things you did as the pioneer president of Lawson? You need to tell us what Lawson is and
Are we
what were
talking
some of
about
the things
Lawson?
you were able to do.
Uh, you see, as of the time we started Lausanne, it was raw from beginning. Like you rightly said, I was the pioneer senate president. That was just we laid the foundation. The Lausanne is very big now, and we thank God that the people that are carrying on our legacy are actually doing it on fine. Now, when you ask me my contribution, since we are talking about being impactful, I know that's why you brought that up. Yeah, we set up the law. We actually went from faculties to faculties to actually advocate for rights of law students and other so many other things. But what actually hindered our our impact was because there was no fund. Everything we were doing then was from our own personal money. Imagine as a student, you are removing a token from your pocket money that you're supposed to eat and pouring it in the growth of an association. Well, to God be the glory, the association is more, more popular and bigger now. So I think to me, I will say that's an achievement on its own. When you start something and you see the growth everywhere, it's something to be proud of. So
Okay, seeing what you have accomplished so far, and as a young person yourself, do you think like a lot of Nigerian youth are clamoring? Do you think it's time for young persons to take over the helm of affairs and even for a young president?
uh, you see, the way I am seeing this man governing this country is laying a foundation for a younger person to take the ends of affairs. I have this notion that the next person that Ashwaju will give support to for presidency is going to be somebody that is younger than him. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong, just like, but that's just my opinion.
So do you have an idea of this young person?
You want to put me in trouble. But anyway, I read politics, I watch the news and body language. I have a strong belief that there is possibility that Asiwaju throws his support when it is time for Northern. Asiwaju throws his support for his NSA, Malanu Ribadu. I might be wrong, like I said, but I feel that's like one of the most viable person that can take over because there is a template they are working on already for the growth of Nigeria and is in the system. So he's unpredictable. He might not even be thinking towards that. He's unpredictable, but that's just it.
Okay. So, if we are, that means since you said this, it's the Southerners should be allowed to continue their 8-year term. So we are talking 2031.
Ah, that's 2031. I don't even see. It's God that actually, have the final say on these things. But I don't see anybody actually defeating that man in the coming election. I don't even see it.
So, in conclusion, what message do you have for young persons and young lawyers as yourself?
I think we should make our own contribution in whichever little way to the growth of the legal profession because when the legal profession becomes better, life becomes easier for our generation and the coming generation. So, in any way that you can contribute to the growth of the legal profession, and of course, the Nigeria at large, because if the Nigeria as a nation is not doing well, no any profession will actually do well.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my take.
Okay. Thank you. And that's all on the Polls with Lantern News today. Our special thanks to our legal analyst, Amir Habib Al-Bushra, Esquire, for joining the conversation. As Nigeria faces critical choices, the role of the law and young leaders remains more important than ever before. Thank you for watching. Join us next time for more insight on Nigeria's biggest stories. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to The Lantern News on all social media platforms. We continue uncovering the truth. Thank you. Do have a great day.